Flint Town, America, is Brother D, the Man Up Talk Show. Death is Locked In, Part 2. Although I did put a question out there I wanted to discuss tonight. Is black culture toxic and a hindrance, or is it uplifting and empowering? Now, when you open that discussion, right, you probably get many different, when I open it, got many different views and opinions and thoughts. And a lot of us, that ain't our culture even, that ain't who we are as a people. And those are facts. And some say, well, it's a subculture. I don't go for that because it's too widespread. And I ain't talking about America. I'm talking about us, black people. That's what I'm talking about. But we got to talk about what's dominant for real, globally. And all of it ain't even our own fault. Because this stuff being promoted to the world. There's people in villages in Africa that's more hip to the things that come from the streets, hip-hop, and from the so-called heroes or whatnot. Or the people that got the greatest influence, which comes from hip-hop. I don't want to call it hip-hop because it ain't just that. But it play a big role in it. And America has generalized it as a hip-hop culture. So, for the sake of not being specific, we're going to use that term here tonight. Hip-hop culture is widespread and impact so many people. It's practiced in every hood, all across the USA, man. We're influenced by what is really our culture. See, the arts, music, is big in shaping culture. And that's one of the biggest things that influence our upbringing. We watch movies. We don't read books. We listen to music. Sometimes more than we study in some places. So this is why it has outdone education. There used to be a time, even in my lifetime, that may have been towards the end of it. But even in my lifetime, education was big. It was widespread. It was in a lot of households, just like the street stuff we own now is widespread in a lot of households. The demand to get an education and not be that. So in my generation, we didn't call each other the N-word like that. We didn't do that like that. We was coming off of towards the end of the brother-sister phase. When I was coming up, that was still strong. The N-word was not big until that took off. And I'm only making reference to why it's so locked in. And I'm going to read this definition I got wrote down, the culture too. The shared learned beliefs, values, customs, behavior, and practices that characterize a particular people or society. Now, we keep it 100, too many of us, especially in the inner city, are influenced by, we're going to call it street culture, because we take it from the streets and make it big. Like a lot of our artists, all from the streets, the ones that influence us the most, society made them big because of the values, the things that they carry, and they influence the culture, make it nationwide, worldwide. Like I said a minute ago, over in villages in Africa, they're more hip to what we bring from the streets than anything else. I want to read two other things too tonight on this show. And the reason why I'm doing this, let me tell y'all a man up moment I had right quick. I'll tell you later. Let me get to this. Now this is associated with generational poverty. What I'm about to read. Some of the characteristics, some of the things people exposed to as generational poverty, even though we done got better, it's still too widespread, especially in Flint. And from that part of our community is where the street culture is coming from. That's almost the essence of it. All the stuff we run around here believing about women, believing about what men should be, the way we dress, the way we talk, the way we interact with the world, the way we see each other, come from that. Now let me share this with you. How many people know this? Now these are characteristics of generational poverty. Background noise, almost always. The TV is on no matter what the circumstances. Conversation participatory, often with more than one person talking at one time. Who can relate to that? That was part of my upbringing. I can remember times when it was always some noise. I experienced that, and that's widespread. See, this the mindset. See, this the root, not the very root, but this the beginning. Because they feel this way and live this way before they get to the street culture. But this is what set them up to get there, this mindset, and this is what, there's no alternative to the widespread death because it got generational poverty attached to it, as well as the street culture. That means it's locked in, man. Let me read another. Survival orientation. Discussion of academic topics is generally not prized. There is little room for the abstract. Discussions that center around people and relationships. A job is about making enough money to survive. A job is not about a career. I was looking for a job when I found this one. Widespread. And it's coming from that mindset and then being raised instantly in the street culture without any powerful, real alternative that's just as powerful as what they're being bombarded with. Death locked in. It's locked in. It's like it's going to take an act of God himself to get us to wake up or even come up with a better plan than what we've been having. I don't want to say that because I don't want nobody to take this personal. At least we got to do more, man. Let me read another that you're going to be able to relate to. Then we're going to just go. Sense of humor. A sense of humor is highly valued as entertainment is one of the key aspects of poverty. Humor almost always about people, either situations that people encounter or the things they do to other people. Now, this is associated with the behavior, actions, environment, things people exposed to, a mindset that's ingrained in there of generational poverty. You know, sometimes the least of these. You know, sometimes we don't really fight or go for the least of these. We like to so willing. You know, his boy got some sense. He do go to school. He will get a job. We go for them, but the brothers who don't care, who don't know, who may live like they come from generational poverty, sometimes we kind of, we don't want to be bothered with him. He might do something to me. He don't want to hear nothing. He ain't going to listen. No, it ain't. That's why it don't work, because if that's what we relying on, it ain't gonna change nothing. With Deaf Locked In, the way that we got to do, it got to be available everywhere, man. It got to be available at all our institutions. I'm talking about not playing, not cookouts, not latchkey, straight teaching and training, man. But this is bad, because listen, what we just talked about, what I just described, is so widespread, and if it ain't no alternative, then it ain't no way out. Seriously, it ain't no way out. And I have said this, and I'm going to continue to say, the one thing that our institutions have always historically done is rose up to the challenge. Organized men, like the concerned pastors of Flint. This ain't a knock, but what y'all concerned about? If this ain't number one on the list, what's the concern? I wish somebody had the permission to allow me to address them with the program I'm going to have September the 8th. I'm going to have the 20-point program all written out and ready to roll. And I'm going to I want to present it to the concerned pastors, because a lot of us want to know what's the concern, if this not it. If changing the mindset and teaching and training the young boys of our community is not the number one concern, then we don't even know what's going on. We don't even know what's going on or how to fix the problem, because ain't nothing else work, bro. Open gym, midnight basketball leagues, all that playing ain't work. The only way to change the mindset is you got to be taught something new, especially when you're getting all that garbage so early and already coming from situations, environments that's killing you. So when I say Deaf Locked In, I'm talking about off the rip. I ain't talking about physical. I'm talking about off the rip. Your ambitions die. Sometimes we don't even have no drink. Look, man, I was talking to some young fellas the other day, man. They didn't have it outside of trying to make a movie, a hood movie, going to work when they have to and hustling. Man, they didn't have a clue. They ain't never dreamed or thought about being anything outstanding and like the next Martin King, the next Farrakhan, the next Malcolm. None of that ever crossed their mind, man. Even being an attorney general or something like that don't even come across their minds, bro. They telling me this from their own mouth. And I can understand, because of the situations that they come from. And then, nowhere outside was their alternative. Yeah, they had Sunday school, but I'm 15, man. And I'm caught up in this other mess. So I really can't comprehend just that without you telling me first what's up with me. And I'm better than this. They ain't getting it. And it's sad that we so deep in this town with an organized body of men, and I say this humbly. I say this with all humbleness. I don't mean no harm. An organized body of pastors that ain't got something that we done all heard about, cranked up, dealing with the number one problem we face in our community. Another dying generation. Just gone, man. I think we on about number 4. And we ain't responded in a powerful way, a collective of us, man. We got to step it up. Because this is the biggest influence in our life, man, and it's all death. We ain't talking about the few good stuff. You can't even consider that with this so widespread. Because let me tell you something. Let me just give you a couple of examples. I don't know how true this is, but they say sagging started in prisons in California. I ain't researched. I don't know. But what I do know is that everywhere I done been, everywhere I had went about 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it was everywhere. Everybody was sagging. See, that's a part of the street culture that captivated a whole nation of people, man. Sagging. They had, when we, at the end of, while we was growing up, like I said, we wasn't Negroes, we didn't call each other that. You can call a sister B word. Them was fighting words. You couldn't say you couldn't be like, that's my B. No. See, that's a regression when that became cool. Stuff like that, when it became cool, that represents regression. And like I was telling a friend of mine earlier today, man, this generation act more like we off the plantation than the people who was actually off of there. You think we just got the way we going crazy now with no alternative? Because see, when we first left the plantation and when we first left other situations like the great migration from the south to the north, we were standing up in the most important need of our people to get away from oppression, where they had some love and some people was doing some things, building their own communities. This is what they was doing. They was doing what we should be doing with more education, more access. The richest, the ninth richest nation on earth, just us. Ninth richest nation on earth. And we acting like we just left the plantation, and the people who left the plantation was building like they was us. True story. Especially the church. Because they were strongly involved in every black town that was created. And now, the biggest need in our community, if we intend on saving another generation, is education and retraining. Because they cannot grow up with street culture, man, without they can, if it ain't no alternative. They're gonna do it. It's been going on for a minute now. I went through it. People my generation, we probably kicked it off. We the ones who fun with the ball, probably. More than likely, the more I look at it. But it got to end now. The 20-point program is coming. September the 8th. 5 o'clock. I gotta check the location. But it's coming. And I pray that there's somebody out there who, if I ain't worthy of doing it, that's fine too. I asked my pastor to do it. They respect him. But somebody got to present this to the concerned pastors. Because we got to do it, man. Because death is so locked in. So locked in, man. Because it's been going on for way too long without interference or being an alternative to all that message like we didn't know. We think it don't matter. Knowing good and well, every man who come from the streets, that's where they headed to. That's what they involved in, the streets. All of us who came from the streets know good and well that sometime in our lives we had to see ourselves different. The only thing about it, some of us was in our 30s, almost 40 before we got there. These young brothers ain't even getting a chance to get 20, man. And they starting off at 5 and 6 now. Why don't we teach them how to see themselves different now? And they might grow into God. They might grow into belief. But we got it. Why we got to give them God too? Why we giving them that? But we got to tell them who they are, man. We can't let them think they niggas no more. Ain't no glory in growing up trying to be no real nigga, no thug. We gotta have an alternative, a real alternative that's constant, consistent, and pumping from many places. Or you ain't with this no way, man. I'm serious, bro. And I thank y'all that listened for the time. Anything was inappropriate. It wasn't my intention. Anything that was good. All the praise be to God. Peace.